Hey guys, this is Prep Pro 2717. This is a video response to a couple of you guys who were wondering or wanted me to post a video on how I make my penny stoves. I understand that this is not the only penny stove. I understand it's not the only alcohol stove. I know there's a bunch of variations, a bunch of different designs. This just happens to be the one that I feel works the best for me. I've used this one. I've used it to feed myself on solo hikes. I've used it to feed my family, and it works great. I trust this thing. I trust this thing with my family. I mean, I've brought only this stove and fed my family on our backpacking trips with zero problems. So that being said, what will you need to make one of these stoves? You will need to make one stove, you'll need a Heineken keg can. I would suggest that you empty it first. This one's not quite there yet. But one Heineken keg can. 3 soda cans. I choose this particular can. I imagine other cans will work. This is just the one that I use. So you'll need 3 of these. Out of your Heineken keg can, you will be able to make the fuel cup and the simmer ring. This will help to conserve fuel when you're trying to maybe cook rice or beans or something on there that's going to require a longer cook time. So you'll use a simmer ring for that. I rarely use a simmer ring. When I use my stove, I'm usually boiling water to hydrate a Mountain House meal or something like that. So your keg can will get you those 2 pieces. Out of your soda cans, all 3 of them, the only part you're going to use is the bottom. The first one will be used for the priming dish. The second one will be used for the burner. And the third soda can will be used for the lid to hold it all together when it's stored. Okay, so some quick measurements. The priming dish, you'll want to cut that to about 1.25 inches tall. So the highest point here, when your can is sitting on your workspace or your desk or your table or your whatever it is that you're using, your toilet seat lid, you'll want that cut to 1.25 inches. Your burner will be cut 3/4 of an inch tall. Your fuel cup will be cut to 1.25 inches tall. Your simmer ring will be cut to 3/4 of an inch. Your cap, really, as long as it covers everything, but I cut mine to about an inch tall. When I'm measuring those things out, I usually take like a fine point Sharpie. I'll have my can sitting on my work area. I'll either have my Sharpie taped to a ruler or just pinned to a tape measure or something, and then I'll just spin my can and make a mark that goes all the way around the can at whatever height that I'm looking for. And I use that to be honest with you, I only use that for the soda cans. When I'm marking and cutting the keg can, I'll just take a razor knife or a box cutter or whatever you want to call it, and I'll just cut this thing in half right through the middle of the label. Once I get to that point, I'll take some sharp scissors and I'll just use those to come in here and just cut right along to get my simmer ring and my fuel cup. Now when you're cutting the simmer ring, what I do is I will cut about right in the middle here where this flat spot is. Tapers right here, come down to this first flat spot. I'll cut about right in the middle, and that seems to work really well. As for the fuel cup, I'll cut just below, there you go, just below this green label, and I'll cut a little bit of this silver part off where it kind of turns into the can. The whole idea is that you want to make sure that once your fuel cup is cut, your simmer ring can fit inside it. Okay? So that's your fuel cup and your simmer ring. As for the burner, what did we cut that to? 3/4 of an inch. One thing about the burner is that, see that flat spot right in the middle there? Normally, it'll just be round. Just kind of a dish. Concave there. Flat, concave. Flat, concave. You want to get that flat spot. The way to do that, or the way that I do that, is I will take a piece of dowel. I'll set my burner right on top of it. I'll place a nickel right in the middle, and then I'll put a socket over the top of that nickel. And then I'll take a hammer and I'll give it a nice solid smack. And that'll basically imprint the diameter of that nickel right there in the center of that burner. And you'll end up with that flat circle. Then you can drill 4 holes. Those will be filler holes. And while you're doing that, you can go ahead and drill your burner holes. Now I use a 1/16 drill bit to drill all those holes. It just seems to be what works. I've tried different diameters, I've tried spacing them funny, I've tried, like here's an example of that. I put 4 around the outside, 2 on the inside. This one, I just did all 6 around the outside of that lip there. And that seems to be what works best. For me. You guys might find out that it works different for you, and that's great. Make it your own. So there's your burner. Once you have your fuel cup and your burner cut out, I take some epoxy. You can take some JB Weld. You can super glue that thing if you want. You can actually just press them together and they'll be fine, but I like to have them glued together. That way you don't have any fuel vapor leaking out of the outside. And then you just press that sucker in. Once you have your epoxy in there, just go ahead and press that thing in there. And it fits perfectly in there. Nice and snug. Now if you cut your simmer ring and your fuel cup right, it should fit right inside there. Oh, that's nice. Lovely. Let's get these out of the way. These are just different types of alcohol stoves that I've made, and they really serve no purpose in this video. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want a priming dish. Now I've used this stove just like this, no priming dish. It works, but it is not as efficient. This priming dish makes all the world of difference when you're trying to conserve fuel and heat something up fast. So the way this thing works is you want to cut this thing, what did I say, 1 1/4 tall? Priming dish, 1 1/4 tall. You want to go ahead and cut these sections out. You can just measure out your 6 points. 3 of them are used to just hold the stove in place, and then 3 of them are used to 3 of them are used to hold the stove in place so it doesn't move around. 3 of them are used, the shorter ones are used to support it up above your priming pan. And you'll just put a few drops of alcohol here, set that on, have your penny placed right here over your filler holes. Fill this up until the alcohol is level with the top, and you just light this. You light the top, light the bottom. Once this thing heats up, it forces the air inside to expand because it's getting hot, and as it escapes, there has to be some displacement. So when the air escapes, it sucks the fuel underneath the penny through your filler holes. Then your priming pan helps heat that fuel up and turn it into vapor, which forces it out of your burner holes. And it just, I don't know if you guys watched my video, but it lights up like a gas burner. Well, it is a gas burner, but it works great. And when this thing's not in use, you can just push that down. Simmer ring goes on top. Your lid, I just Elmer's glue or wood glue or whatever, a penny right on top, just so you have a spare. It's always nice to have a spare. And it fits all together like that. I just take a rubber band and hold it all together. Now you can get fancy before you actually empty those cans, the soda cans. You can polish them up, make them all look nice. Does that affect the way that it performs? Absolutely not. So there it is. I hope you guys are able to follow that. Let me know if something was not clear. Let me know if you need me to spend more time on something. I'd love to answer any questions. I'd love to see you guys making some of these stoves. I needed to make 3 of them anyway. I promised you guys that I would send a knife and a stove to the 3 winners of my contest. So I figured, you know, a great way to go ahead and get those done and knock this video out at the same time, so you guys can see a little bit of the how-to on that. I hope you guys got some. I hope this was helpful to you. Go ahead and comment, leave suggestions, rate the video, subscribe if you'd like. Don't subscribe if you're subscribed already. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.